Hey, welcome to Inside Integration. I'm Chris. I'm joined as always by my partner, Jayson.
Howdy, everybody.
And today we are joined by Olivia Jaber from Lucetta CI and Elemental LED.
Hey guys, how's it going? How's it going?
Very well, very well. And we are super stoked to have you on here. We're big fans of the product, and thank you for not beating us too badly at Top Golf a little while ago. That we truly appreciate that. Um, and yeah, we're excited to have you because we want to talk all about Elemental and Lucetta, and we kind of want to get to know you a little bit more. Your role is pretty much outreach with buying groups and that sort of thing. And you're kind of out there preaching the gospel to a bunch of custom integrators who may not have done lighting or they're trying to get into it or whatever. And you're here to bring them in the boat. You're trying to get these guys on board. What's that experience been like for you?
Yeah, so it's been a great experience. I mean, it's an interesting kind of industry we're in right now because we're seeing this big shift with custom integrators getting into lighting and taking over the lighting. They've been doing controls for years, decades, and so they need a lot of education and support to try to grow their business. And as a company who's been around for 17 years, we've been in distribution, we are on the specification side, and we saw a really big opportunity to go support these integrators, working on jobs we would have never been involved in. And so it's been a learning curve for, I think, the integrators, for the manufacturers, just a lot of flexibility, adaptability. But I have to say that it's going really well. We're seeing a lot of uptake and progress. I think I owe that to not only working for a great company who allows us to have that time for growth and really get it, working, but to the integrators who are also committed to learning this channel and attending trainings, setting up meetings with rep agencies and really trying to be involved in growing their business together. So it's been exciting. I'm new to the industry. I've only been in lighting for about 2.5 years now. So I learn something new every single day. A lot of my customers have been in the industry for decades. So yeah, I'd say it's an exciting endeavor that, we're getting to go on together. So it's been good so far.
Yeah, that's I mean, there's so many different ways that I wanna go here, like, you're new to the industry, judging by the other 2 people that are on the screen with you right now, you're a little bit younger than us. I'm just gonna be polite to myself and to Chris and not make myself feel, so bad
That's a
about
very
that.
nice way to put it, Jayson.
Yeah,
Very.
I'm trying to be nice to myself, and I mean, you're all right, but whatever. I wanted to, like, just kind of unpack this as a younger person coming into the industry. What's your impression of what custom install is all about? Because I've dealt with some from people that are even my age, younger, older, what have you, and they're like, "What are you talking about? Like, there's this whole world of just custom things for houses." Like, tell me about that. What's your impression of what this industry is all about, as you say, coming in from the outside, being kind of new?
Sure. So, from what I understand, a lot of the industry is filled with custom integrators who, got started either on the electrical side years ago or they got started on the audio video side. And they've been involved, right? Exactly. And so, you know,
Raised my hand there for anybody that's listening to this one. What is she responding to?
yeah.
Yes, I'm guilty as charged.
Yeah, and so they are really focused on when Shades was adopted, and Lutron was really pushing that, I think, into we're in a technology space. And so what I'm really seeing now is lighting and making your life easier to live, all of these things, automated controls, automated shades. We can live so much better now. And I think that that is from like a health perspective. The health and wellness industry is coming into this. There are so many different points of inflection that are influencing the end user. And I think custom integrators have been involved in these projects in some capacity for so long, and they have all of the skills, they have those relationships with end users. And so what I really make of it is it's kind of like that, like have to hop on the bandwagon. Like if I'm not going to do this and I can get really good at it and offer a solution that no one else can offer, then the time is going to end and we're not going to be able to grow our business in that way. So I kind of see it as like really being influenced by a lot of different industries.
Sure.
And so, yeah, I'd say that that's definitely a big part of it.
Yeah, it's like a rebirth right now. I think we're seeing, to put it in historical, context, like a renaissance, right? Like this is a change from the dark ages of just audio and video, as you say,
Yeah,
or the electrical folks out there trying to figure out how to make lighting work.
right.
That convergence of the trades, it's industry wide and certainly I think just a facet of of technology these days. But yeah, it's interesting to hear your take on it, coming in with a fresh face because as you said, I'm definitely from the cloth of the audio video world. That was where my teeth were cut. And Chris I
That's
think got a
that's all we
similar.
had. That's all we had
Yeah,
back
that's all
then.
there was. Yeah, we were not allowed to touch light
Right.
bulbs or
No.
switches or any of that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's exciting to hear, and to see fresh faces, to see, frankly, see women coming into the industry. That was kind of one of the takes that I wanted to ask you about because you are our second female guest. So, I'm going to go ahead and give
Bravo.
myself
Bravo.
a brief little golf clap here. But as you see more women joining the industry, are you starting to feel some camaraderie there? Are you starting to build some relationships and some friendships from that?
Absolutely. So it's kind of interesting. I joined the company 2.5 years ago, like I said, not thinking that I'm getting into sales. I joined because I wanted to move out of California and I wanted to just work for a good company and learn something new. And from the moment I came here, I was just supported by the company from every department we have, the engineering team, the manufacturing side, quotes, every single question I had of this completely new, like I never even really knew what a driver was, to be
Hmm.
honest with you. And so to be able to gain that confidence that I am learning something very technical, it's going into these jobs where there are layers and layers of, new builds and retrofits, and you're going to be talking to builders and architects and lighting designers and seeing how all that fits in, and then add on the way that the company works and the different divisions we have and the way that we buy and sell with certain buying groups. There's been so much I've learned that's really grown my confidence. And when I started going out and going, on my sales meetings, I've just been met with the most amazing dealers, the most amazing customers, everyone wanting to teach me something, and obviously you have to know your stuff, right?
Sure.
Um, and I think a big part of that is sometimes you get these new faces in the industry that really want to think that they're all that and they know everything. And that's just like so impossible. In every meeting I have, there's something that comes up. I'm like, I don't know the answer to that, but I can get you the answer. And so I think that's a big part of it where I've never, it's exciting that more women are joining the lighting industry because I've made amazing connections on both the dealer side and the vendor side. But I think that as long as you know your stuff, this is an industry that really wants to uplift
Hmm.
and really, carry you through. And I think sometimes having a fresh set of eyes helps everybody make those connections because at the end of the day, we're selling products to people that really don't understand how everything comes together and they don't
Right.
know the ins and outs. And so you have to be really customer facing and really kind of figure out how to deliver those things. And then, to integrators who have no idea what linear lighting entails yet, and kind of how to high level it. And then, get our team, that's what they're there for, to get in the weeds with them. But yeah, I'd say it's a super fun time to be in an industry that everybody is talking about.
Hmm.
And so I think that's the bigger thing is, it's great that they're supporting, women and that we're growing in this industry. But I think more than that, it's like anyone who's willing to take a stab and work really hard, I think they're going to do well in the lighting industry right now.
Sure. And
Yeah.
and it's definitely, I mean, it is largely because of the amount of tools that Elemental has that, you're probably seeing a lot of uptake on it because
Yeah.
really we kind of joke about this, and we've made this joke a few times, that there's literally a room full of people waiting by a fax machine for you to send them your cocktail napkin of what your design is. But that's legit. Like, that's really,
It,
Jayson saw it. He
There
saw
you
the
go.
room. But that's, that's super helpful, where there's a lot of guys out here, and it's exactly like you said. This is a very exciting time to be in this industry. There's a lot of new stuff where we're truly like kind of taking up that mantle of, concierge of cool, or like technology guru or wizard or whatever you want to call it, where what we do in a home, it really touches a ton of stuff. And, lighting is just a small part of that, but lighting is the one right now that we are all kind of focused on. And the fact that you're out there, trying to get people involved is, it's great. And it says a lot about Elemental, and it says a lot about Lucetta and you guys in general. It's a smart move, because
yeah.
when you can educate your clients, right? Like, you're getting ahead.
Yeah. Well, so it's kind of interesting. You mentioned two things I want to hit on really quickly. So this company, so Elemental LED is our parent company, right? We have quite a few divisions underneath that. One of the ones that we've been focusing on is Lucetta CI. That's the division that we go to market with for custom integrators. It's separate from distribution that we've been doing for over 17 years, separate from specification. And the resources that are needed to start up a channel are wild.
Sure.
And I was talking to a coworker the other day. I feel like the luckiest girl, because I work for a company where I can actually go out and sell and educate, and what I say is true. So these integrators need immediate assistance. They need very technical support. They need samples there yesterday. Like,
Sure.
everything that they need, and I'm actually able to deliver that, which is crazy. Like, I, just had an instance with a car manufacturer where something was defective, and I'm here trying to get some new tires and wheels and this whole situation, and it was just a nightmare, honestly, at the beginning. And you want to make sure that if you're out there and you're listening and you're like looking to work for a good company, that's a company that's going to have your back and also have the customers back, because it makes your life easier. Because you don't have to be going out there and saying something's going to be delivered and it's just there's no way it's going to be delivered. So I think that's a really important aspect, and I think we covered the way that we go to market with this specific division requires a special set of resources. Because of the types of projects that are being worked on, it's no longer, okay, how many spools do you need? How many drivers? It's
Right.
this custom cut with the specific detail that the lighting designer needs the light to hit at this direct angle, and what product do you have for that? And so I think that is something that we've done a really good job of tailoring and hiring, and kind of promoting within, to make sure that that new specific type of support is being met, so we don't get problems down the road,
Right.
people not getting things that they didn't expect,
Right.
things like that.
Well, and I would imagine that with the outreach to custom integrators, that specification is a very, that is something that, especially when you're new, you don't know what the parts are, you don't know what they can accomplish, you don't know how to get them into a project. That whole specification angle of it, and the fact that you guys are there to hold hands and move an integrator down his voyage, right, to becoming an expert.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's helpful. And so kind of in line with that, like, what has been your, it's, I don't think it's too crazy to say, like, you're probably one of the people in this industry who has dealt with more new dealers than anybody else as far as lighting is concerned. Like, what have you seen out there? Like, what have been some of the challenges and the stumbling blocks to guys getting up to speed and going forward?
Sure. So I think that the biggest thing we face is education. Learning about all the different products we have, knowing, the process, the way to start selling lighting, right? Like, how do you start having the conversation with your customer? Or based on your area as an integrator, the architect could have control over the job, the builder could, the lighting designer could. They're like, Olivia, how do we break into this? Or maybe the electrician is the one who is currently putting, some lights in. So the education part is important, because it's talking about why this kind of linear lighting, why you need to put something in this house that is going to last way beyond, the people living in it. To be honest with you, why does quality performance really matter? What's currently being put into these multi-million dollar jobs, you walk a beautiful home and you're just shocked how much it was butchered. So
Right.
the education part, the part of it that's interesting is we really do believe that these specific jobs, that they're not going out to bid. They are worked on, they are brought up from internally. It's a very organic process. And they have relationships with these homeowners. It's like, why should custom integrators be doing the lighting? That's another big kind of hurdle for them. Once they understand that, once they know how to integrate it into their business model, once they kind of learn about their area, it really is separated by, like, it's so different from Texas, even Austin to
Sure.
Dallas,
Right.
who's running projects. But really, at the end of the day, the integrator is getting the call when something doesn't work, right? They do all of the lighting controls. They have the ability to work with a lighting designer or bring a lighting designer in internally, and really maximize the space, make the customer's life much better than it would have been if, you put up a few like strip lights that you ordered off of Amazon or whatever was going to be in there. And the difference is you dramatically affect a space at a way lower cost than you would with anything else that you do for the house. And so I think that those two issues, like, so education, really them getting comfortable selling, and then of course the natural like progression of things. Like, anytime you have a new kind of category you're trying to embrace, that, like, getting up to speed and that learning, like, there are going to be issues that go wrong. You're going to order the wrong length because you didn't understand where to put the
Sure.
tape light.
Sure.
I think those are all things that we've really learned how to hit head on as a company. So a large part of my role is to support HTSA, our first buying group that we entered for custom integrators, and just go out there with these integrators, spend time with them, learn about the place that they're in,
Right.
who is running the projects, are they already working with builders, is it super hard to get in front of builders, do we have to go meet the builder together to sell them on buying good quality linear lighting? Really unpacking that, right? And learning about them specifically as an integrator. Do they have an electrical division? Do they find it difficult to work with the electrician? Like, all of these different parts come into play. And it's funny, like, we're the manufacturer. It's typically like you're making the product, right? But with us, it's so much more than that. And so I would say that from when we started really embracing this category to now, it's night and day difference. Like, dealers that knew nothing about linear lighting, they are doing their fourth, fifth, sixth project with us now. And again, it all circles back to the company. Your first project, there are going to be things that maybe you didn't realize, and we're kind of working and we're figuring it out together. It's like, company's got your back 100% of the
Sure.
way.
Sure.
We're investing in this because we know that it is kind of like the new frontier. Um, and these houses, like residential, even commercial, like, they really need it. And so, yeah, I think those are the main hurdles I've seen, but nothing that's, I think, shocking to anybody,
Right. Right. Yeah. I think a lot of times, just to kind of reiterate what you said, I think a lot of times is just knowing the questions to ask and knowing how to position yourself in here, right? Because, you could be working for you can be working with a GC or a builder for 15 years, and he only thinks of you as the AV guy or, the network guy or whatever it is.
Right.
It's a lot of positioning yourself. And again, knowing what you need to know and, kind of pushing that forward and, yeah, really selling yourself as their technology person. And,
Well, it's kind of funny, like, when I first started doing this, like, really going out seeing integrators, like, I developed this list of, like, all of the questions. I'm like, because, okay, I understand your product, I understand your application. These are all of the things you need to consider. And we now send it out to new dealers. Like, when you are going to send us something that you need a quote for, ask all these questions. Like, whoever is on the project, and it's like little things like that that we just didn't have before because this is such a new channel. And now
Sure.
those questions, like, really help the integrator. Things like, as basic as, are there already like downlights? Like what CCT are those? Like we better match them, you know?
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have a I man, there's like you got I can hear the confidence like bubbling out of you, which is exciting. For me just to hear people that are like, they're in the game, they got their head screwed on straight, they're excited about it, and they want to empower people.
mhm,
One of the things that sort of, triggers me, if that's the right word, is the training facility and the opportunity for our guys to be able to come out to Reno and go into the factory and get trained on this stuff. I know that Cameron is the training guru, and I'm not going to ask you to get into the weeds on the nitty gritty there, but can you tell us just a little bit about what that looks like and kind of what's in store for the guys that come out for that training, if you can?
totally. So when I go out to see customers, first of all, I like the energy. It's such an exciting time. I love my company. I love where we're going with this channel. The integrators that you're meeting with are also super excited. They want to grow their business. It's just kind of like this cosmic thing that happens at these meetings, like, and they're just so excited and they want to know more. So what really happens after like that initial meeting is they're like, how can I learn more? How can I get not only my salespeople, but also my techs? If they have people going out to job sites, like how can I get everybody this information? And so Cameron, who you referred to, he is our senior national training manager. He sold one of our brands for years. He's been in the CI channel for a while, and we were lucky enough to get him. And this guy is an energizer bunny. Like,
Yeah, I noticed that.
yeah. Um,
Hard not to. He's
right.
pretty.
He gets you so excited. You're like, we're talking about linear lighting here. No, like these trainings, and you have to have someone like that just
You
loves the
do.
company, bleeds for the company, and really just knows the products, knows the channel really well, and is gonna, even like after that initial meeting, have them take off, right? So they, what happens is we have different trainings for different types of I guess customers, right? We have distribution focused trainings for electrical distributors, electricians, things like that. We have specification focused trainings where lighting designers, maybe architects come. Now we actually offer CI specific trainings. So those are really nice trainings. It's 3 days. It's pretty advanced. You come in the first day, you get like an overview. Second day, you go through both our manufacturing center. So we're based in Reno, Nevada. We have a manufacturing center that's over 160,000 square feet. Right across the street is our headquarters. So we're not this siloed company where you're calling into some call center and you think you're going to get the runaround. It's like if we have someone calling in and maybe we don't know the answer or something, we can walk over to engineering and get you an answer. Um, so you get to tour both of those, and what you really take away is we're making this stuff here. That is huge. Like we're not some manufacturer that's white labeling, buying things and putting our name on it. We are making from the ground up, designing and engineering the circuit boards, the phosphor mix, everything you could think of. So when they do say we have the best quality and performance in the industry, it's really true. It's proven. And I think when these dealers come here, they gain a certain level of confidence that they really need to be able to go and deliver this to their customer. They are skilled in audio, they're skilled in video. They know what they would want in their own home. And now they really get to see it in person. They get to meet the people that build their quotes, that are answering the phones. And we also have a really fun Tahoe day. So not only are you,
Oh, darn. I have to go
getting
to
to call,
Tahoe too?
yes,
Rats.
Oh
gosh, Cam
no.
really, really puts on a really good training. All we ask is that they get themselves here, then we cover everything while they're here.
Yeah,
The
that's a really
dinners.
powerful sales tool. And for anybody listening, they've got some events the 6th and 7th of June, and then the very early part of August as well. Sorry, I had it open here for a second and I'm just going to stumble over it. Yeah, August 1st and August 2nd, as well as June 6th and June 7th. If you are an Oliver Marketing customer, you buy the set of product from us, or you're interested in getting into the linear lighting space, this is a fantastic opportunity for you to go and see the facility that you heard Chris and I talk about on an earlier podcast, and also what Olivia has just laid out here for you. Again, she's not lying when she's talking about Cameron being like the best cheerleader ever to get you excited. We got to go and see the facility from the rep side of things, so we didn't necessarily get as hands-on
Some
as
of
you
us did.
would. Oh,
Some of
well,
us.
the royal we, as in me. I got to go and experience that, but, man, like, you guys have got the patents in the building. You really do have a compound, and she's not lying, like, if we were in the headquarters and it's like, "Okay, well, we're gonna walk across the street, and this thing that's kinda blotting out the sun over there, that we're kind of moving into more parts of, that's our manufacturing facility." So they've got the jigs, and they've got the machines, and they've got these people that are in there putting together orders for our dealers that are custom specified. So the conversation over the cocktail drawn on a napkin, we're going to fax that over to Reno, and I've got these specific channel lengths, and I've got the drivers that I need, and I've got the tape picked out. I just need you guys to bang this out. We literally saw the folks that were on the floor in the factory cutting channel with specified tools. Like this, they have this machine that just does solder joints for the RGB wire. I-
Mhm.
I've soldered plenty of things in my life. There's no way in any person's world that you want me soldering these little tiny wires onto this fine linear tape, the chip on this, the chip on board type of stuff that you guys have got. It's amazing. So yeah, she's not spinning any yarns here. She's telling you, like, if you're into this, if you want to get into this, Elemental is a fantastic partner. Lucetta, literally, as she just said, if you can get yourself to Reno, they'll put you up and they'll put you on and show you how it all works and how to be successful with it. And that is, as we like to say in the game, true partnership.
So
Mhm.
and just to kind of bolster what Jayson's saying, Oliver Marketing is having an event at Elemental's facility on June 5th. We are calling it the biggest little lighting event in the world because it's Reno, and it's going to be a bunch of different manufacturers. We're going to have Lightheaded is going to be there, which is a new line we're going to introduce. Obviously, Lucetta, Elemental, they are opening their facility and their hearts to us to kind of do a little bit of a mini show in Reno, and get a bunch of dealers in, do the tour. There's going to be some networking. There's going to be some designers are going to be there, so there'll be a lot of opportunities for custom integrators who are curious about this world to kind of get into this a little bit. If you didn't go to Lightapalooza, if you're in that Northern California, Reno area, we are going to be having that event on June 5th, and you are, we can we can definitely
And not
swing it in
just stay over.
conjunction.
Yeah, just
Yeah, I
stay
mean,
over. Sign up for the
why wouldn't you?
training.
Right, stay in the
You've
6th, stay in the
already you've
7th.
already swallowed the bait. You're a fish on the hook. Just go for the ride. Just go for the next 2 days and then go to
Eat
Tahoe
a steak in
as a
Tahoe.
consolation prize. Like,
Absolutely.
come on.
Well, the beautiful thing about these trainings is that we have a team that can do the heavy lifting. Like, we have a very well-oiled machine that, you send in your inquiry, whether it's a need, a product question, an actual set of plans, a napkin drawing, and the whole process internally goes through all of our different teams, and it's a really great working system that we have here. But when you come to our training, becoming an expert, just having enough information to be dangerous, like, those are two very different things. And so
Absolutely.
you can live your life as an integrator and just know enough to be dangerous, and you rely on us, and that's awesome. But if custom integrators love to be experts, and they love to know everything about what they're selling. They like to get into it slow, and I totally understand that, right? You're adding something into your business plan, essentially. Like, you need to be successful, you
Sure.
need your team to know what they're doing. And so if that sounds like you, then this is a great avenue to kind of, proceed and become an expert, and just really gain that confidence in knowing about linear lighting, knowing what your resources are, knowing who at the end of the day is helping you. And yeah, I think it's pretty unique that we do that. So thanks for hyping it up.
Oh, no,
Certainly,
I'm
certainly.
really excited. Like, honestly, I wanna come back. I mean, Reno's a fun little town. I never really spent a lot of time there before, so, Chris hasn't got to do that yet, so you'll get to do it here pretty soon, buddy. Just, hang on, you'll get to go in a couple
I'm
of
I'm
weeks.
I'm excited. I have been
I
to Reno, but it has not been
It hasn't
for
been like this, I'll tell you
no,
that. No,
no.
I mean, they put you up nice. The facility is fantastic. It's not one of these, "Oh, hey, we'll see you in a hotel ballroom,"
It's a
and no,
construction trailer, right?
not knocking that because, that's certainly part and parcel of what the training world is like, but this is like going to, a Disneyland, for lack of a better description for the AV space, right? Like, we
Totally.
got to go to Sonance, similar thing. They made a huge investment in bringing in the people they're partnered with, our dealers, to be able to teach them the ways, teach them the philosophy, get them excited about it. And, from my experience, what I saw at your facility was, on par with what we saw at Sonant. So really, definitely worth the investment and time to get out there to do this.
Awesome.
Yeah, very cool. And so we can kind of pivot away. I'm curious, as somebody who is new in this industry, as somebody who is a woman, what are, outside of linear lighting, right? What are your favorite parts of this industry? Like, how, when you look at this, and you deal with a lot of integrators, you see a lot of projects, you see a lot of things, like, what about these projects, besides the linear lighting that you are undoubtedly providing,
Yeah.
what excites you the most? Like, what do you think is the coolest part of what we all do?
I think what the coolest part is seeing something new emerging that is really like at its like conception and it's just going to blossom. Um, I think that, you know, I get that that is kind of about linear lighting, but it's super cool being a part of something where everybody is just trying to kind of figure it out. And, you know, you just you come through roadblocks, all of those things. At the end of the day, my customers and I have made such great relationships that it really is more than just like selling,
Mhm.
you know. And I think like seeing everybody just become more successful and like figure out a new thing. It's like it's honestly just so cool to be a part of that. And yeah, I think the personal development is a really big part that I've been talking to a lot of coworkers about too, where this has probably been the hardest job I've ever had, hard because there are so many aspects of it, from like the business strategy side to the how do we grow these relationships with these dealers, and okay, this is a new situation, how do we deal with something like this. And I think that that's something that I really appreciate because this job has really challenged me. I travel 80%.
Mhm.
I am on the road almost every single week. I was just in Alabama. I was just in Montana. I did Philadelphia, DC, and Baltimore
Sounds like a
recently.
Steve Miller Band song.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
did you have a crab cake when you were in Maryland? I mean, did you do it right or what?
I'm kind of in and out. And the thing about it is, like, you learn so much about yourself. Like, you are on the road, you are in new environments, faced with new situations. Sometimes dealers would drop words that I've never heard before when they're talking about construction, and you just embrace it. You're like, "Excuse me, could you please explain that?" Like, and they're so awesome, and everyone helps you learn. But I would say that it's just really exciting to be given so much responsibility, be a part of something that's so new, and really just be hitting the pavement and seeing it stick. Above, just talking about lighting, I think it's
Sure.
at the end of the day also seeing these projects, like people's lives are really changed from lighting, and you get to connect on, that as well. Like some of the things that we've been involved in are crazy,
Sure,
and
sure.
I can't even imagine. I didn't even know this job existed 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at, like, earlier when I was like, "What do you think?" Right? Like, you gotta go look around and go, "I get paid to do this?
Yeah.
Really? Like, you're paying me to do this?
It is.
Really?"
I feel so lucky because, first of all, I love sales. I think that it is just an amazing job, especially as a young person, where if you work really hard and you work for a good company, the world is your oyster. You get to give your opinion on things that you're seeing in the field, and that translates back into products that we're making. You get to hear, real world issues that like maybe electricians are having problems with. Like, can we be a solver of that? And of course we are. We, like you said, have over 75 patents. Like, we constantly want to make this space easier on everyone we work with, and like fix problems that people are seeing. And so it's such an innovative, creative company to be a part of. And I think that like if you're young and you like working with people, and you are scared of like a technical industry, or working with a bunch of people who've been in this industry for decades, like I did it, I love it. You kind of have to embrace it and jump all in. And I guess the advice I would give, not like we're just trying to give people advice all the time, but is like just to say yes. Like your company asks you to do something, like go out, say yes, get a little uncomfortable, go meet with 3 people you've never met with before, and just ask them what their issues are. Figure out if you can give them a solution. If not, no worries. Like, we're here if you ever have questions. It's that type of relationship that I think is cool, because when you say you're in sales, I don't know if you guys can relate, but sometimes people get a little bit off put because they're like, what are you going to try to sell me?
Oh,
Yeah.
I vomit immediately in my mouth when that shit.
Yeah, well, yeah, I try to leave, I leave sales manager out of my title. It's territory manager, frankly. So
Yeah.
to your point, I love the, again, if you saw me smiling when you were talking, you're an old soul, I can tell, Olivia. Like the work ethic and the ethos that you're espousing, it really is, I think, kind of a lost art on many people. And I don't think it's something that people can't learn or can't be excited about maybe later on in their lives, or as you mature and grow into your professional life.
Mhm.
But again, just exciting to hear you talk about like getting up and saying yes to things. Like you've got to have these strategies to help close deals, right? Like you've got to take it to that. You got to take it to that level, and to hear you saying, "Yeah, we can do that," or "Yes, I can find out." That's what clients want to hear, frankly, right? Like
Yeah.
they want to hear, "Yes, you can do this." Okay, I love to hear that. You've got some strategies for how to make it happen. Like, yeah, just say yes to things and let's get out there and do it.
Totally.
Well, and it probably means a lot to a lot of integrators where, yeah, they're used to it, they're used to their routine, and to have somebody coming in, I mean, you can probably empathize with the position that they're in, getting
Yeah.
into a new, an entirely new vertical than what they're used to. So I'm sure that helps a bit too.
Totally.
And yeah, I haven't really met an integrator yet in 20 some odd years that has been, we're not electricians, right? Like
Yeah.
there's very much
Whoa,
a,
stinky
yeah, like
electricians.
there's
Gross.
very much a yeah, no, I've been doing this 1,000 years, and there's no
Yeah.
way you're going to break into this. No, integrators seem to be pretty easy, as long as you've got the work ethic and you can be there when you say you're going to be there, and are willing to learn. That's
Yeah.
that's pretty
I
easy.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. These integrators, that relationship building that we do is like a sales tactic, I guess. Like, I give my personal phone number, I am on my email 24/7, and I really vouch for them. Like, if they are having an issue, and most of the time it's install related. Like, it has nothing to do with them or, with our company. Like, and they still need help. They need to figure out this problem that they're facing. And so I think that, it's a joke that we say at the company, but to really understand who we are, something kind of has to go wrong, because, like,
Yeah, that's
uh,
a
and
great
when
way
I
to put it.
so I
Yeah.
remember I was interviewing here, and I was talking to our chief marketing officer, and I'm kind of like, what makes you guys stand out? Like, why is this such a great company to work for? And I'll never forget. He's like, when shit hits the fan, like, we're not turning our back. And it's, again, easy to love what I do because I'm not faced between a rock and a hard place. Like, if shit hits the fan and, someone stapled through the tape light or bent it on the wrong axis or misplaced it in their warehouse, like, we're going to come up with a solution for you. Um, and, I have a whole team internally that helps me. Like, again, these are issues that I'm they're new a lot of time. Like we haven't seen them before. So I think that yeah, like it makes things a lot easier. But for the most part, it's been smooth sailing. I really do have to say. I don't know what your guys' takes. I'd be curious to hear, but I think that the initial hurdles, like we've jumped a lot of them, and now I really think this next year is going to be a lot of growth with integrators.
I mean, I can tell you, I'm not. I don't want to try and put words in Jason's mouth, but from my
Whatever.
standpoint, it's I'll put sandwiches in your mouth.
Yeah, there you go.
But
Beers,
yeah,
sandwiches,
beers,
tequila.
sure,
Good.
whatever. But
Yeah, there you go. She's drinking out of her Lucetta
there
cup.
you go. It hides
I love
booze
it.
really well.
Yeah,
Those
Yeah, yeah.
giant Lusettas, yes, you can fill that thing with like a half bottle of wine
my
and take it to
my
the
little
park.
baby Yeti. I love that thing from my
Those
visit there.
are
It's
cute.
coveted. It's very coveted here at my house. Everybody's like, "Oh, where'd you get that?" I'm like,
There you
and
go. That
What
it holds one whiskey shot. Um,
well, actually more than one, but
there
it's
you
okay.
go.
is
But no, the again, I don't want to put words or sandwiches in Jason's mouth, but my impression of you guys is that you're doing it the right way, right? Like you're going about it. Obviously, you guys were a big company before. This is a vertical that you want to get into, and you're kind of out here building a community and building up resources and just really making people love you. And I think that's a very prudent move for sure, right? Like let's get them in, let's get them loyal, let's teach them how to fish, and then we'll sell them fishing rods, and that's a
right.
great way to do it. Um, from the dealer's perspective, yeah, there's a lot of dealers who would have never thought about linear lighting, or linear lighting is, the thing that you search for and it comes up on Amazon and it comes in a strip or whatever. And okay, if I need to put this into a casement or something, then that's what I'm going to use.
Let me get out my hot glue gun and just glue this bad boy
Yeah,
underneath the counter
exactly.
here.
I think a lot of folks are very pleasantly surprised that first of all, there's a way to make money in this. Second of all, these are very premium products, and there are products for applications that anybody can dream up, right? So we're talking, flexible, all the linear stuff, and all of the different color temperatures. You can literally specify this stuff just about anywhere. And one of the most impressive things for me, and I'm again trying not to steal Jason's thunder too much, but Jayson visited a granite manufacturer and made a great connection there. And that is just
Yeah, well,
for a rep to do that, but for a custom integrator to be able to do that and reach out to people within their community and say, hey, this is something that I can provide you that makes your offering more special than the guy down the street. I think that's a really great way to get a dealer out of their comfort zone and get them thinking outside the box.
Totally. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I think that if you can add this into your, I mean, we've seen it, right? Like AV dealers that are now custom integrators have started to like solely focus on linear lighting because it is such an opportunity for growth for their businesses. So I couldn't agree with you more.
Very cool.
I don't know what that sound was,
Yeah.
but it totally took me out of the
Someone called me. I'm
Oh, it
so
was you.
sorry.
Oh,
Okay.
okay,
All right.
no,
Good.
I was just like, "Oh my god," with some of the technical challenges we've had, I'm like, "Oh my god, spring and the smoke just came out of our podcast right on the air." So, yeah, don't worry about getting messages or what have you. This is my dogs were on the podcast a few minutes ago. I don't know if you heard them. So,
Awesome.
they like to show up every once in a while if somebody comes
Aw.
home or somebody delivers, something to the house. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And I just, there's a lot of different routes to take here, but it is exciting to hear what you've got to say. As Chris was saying, there are a lot of opportunities, and to your point, the community aspect of this, putting, leaning up the walls, to support each other, from different verticals is a fantastic way to approach your business. I think, it's a community. You talk about the buying groups, that's your world, right? So you see these guys trading best practices back and forth. You see them putting their oars in the water together to move, move the ball down the field for the vendors that they're supporting.
Yeah.
And you guys have a new offering that's premium with, as you mentioned it, how many patents? 50 plus?
Yeah, over 75. I think we have
Oh,
like 50
okay. Well,
Excuse
I
me.
was, yeah, sorry about that.
No, no, no. But you're right though. The rising tides, lift all ships, as they say.
Sure.
And what has been incredible to me, like when I first started, so we are in HTSA and we're in ASION, and they're great ways to build communities and really get commitment, like a reciprocal relationship that
Mhm.
we are investing a ton of resources and these dealers really want to learn. And so when I first started, I'm like, wow, like I'm surprised that everyone's sharing their best practices. Like, isn't there competition? It's like there is so much opportunity. No,
Big pie. It's a very
it's
Yeah.
big pie.
high. And the more that people start getting comfortable with custom integrators taking on this role, I think the better for everybody. And so there's a lot of shift that has to, happen. And I think that that's been one of the surprising things too, is like when, you're in a buying group, you want people to buy from you because they want to buy from you, not because they are mandated to buy from you.
Right.
Right. So I think earning that trust with dealers, starts by like word of mouth, so it's like, oh, hey, I had this great experience with so and so, like, oh my god, yeah, they're awesome. And that's actually been a really big way that we've made such an impact, because the impact we've made in HSA is remarkable.
Hmm.
Yeah,
um
I've heard. I know a few of our HDSA guys, and they're like, "Are you our Lucetta person?" I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "We met with them, we saw them, we met Olivia, we met Cameron, we met Keith."
yeah,
And even some I know Randy, the founder of your company, has been involved, and he's kind of a mad scientist. We could probably do a whole podcast kinda on what he's all about. It was really inspiring to
amazing.
it
Yeah,
was really inspiring to hear his story and to hear his pitch. I mean, the guy's had, 49 companies and sold every single one, but this is the 50th one and it's not going anywhere and it's gonna
yeah,
be the biggest one ever.
right.
That kind of stuff is infectious,
Yeah.
and
It
as
is.
a business owner, as a smaller guy or as a sales rep, you're like, "Oh, I'm definitely gonna hook, I'm gonna ride this guy's coattails wherever he's going because
Yeah,
he's got a plan and the proof is in the pudding, for lack of a better, metaphor to use. Like, you guys have got
yeah,
the facility, you've got the patents, you've got, Woody, you've got the original table that he started his business on, in the
yeah,
foyer and in the back of the office, like, you can kinda see where you started and,
yeah.
where you've come to. So it's exciting
Well,
for all of that, right?
it is. It's inspiring being a part of a company. We're the largest manufacturer of tape light in North America. And it's so personalized. Like, everyone's experience with us is immediate, it's personalized, it's custom.
That's
Um,
bespoke. That's great.
Yeah.
it
And it's
is.
authentic. I mean, that's
It's
really
authentic.
kind of what stands apart is the authenticity, you know?
Totally. And I think it starts from the top, right? Like, Randy is here before everybody, like every single day, gets in like way before it's light outside.
The most stoked dude at the company is the guy who started the company. That is a rare thing.
It is, and he's asking every single person how they're doing and what they're working on, and he's so actively involved in all the decisions and in the business strategy, and um, it is cool to learn from, everybody that's at the top end of our company. From the people that handle our product to the people that handle our customer experience teams. I think that if you want to learn, this is a great company to do it at. And you see really how Randy like handles himself, interacts with every single employee. Um, and that bleeds through to every interaction that we have with the customer, because people are happy here. And the number one comment we get is always about our culture. And I didn't really get it because, I graduated heat of COVID. Like, it was just a weird time to try to get a job. And when I started working here, everyone was coming out of that. And it was just really nice to be a part of something where the culture can really incentivize you to like want to keep doing better and like actually asking questions. And yeah, I mean, I could rave about the company all day, but
Sure. Well, that's exciting. Again,
It's a good
you're
sign.
obviously yeah, it is a good sign.
yeah,
We're here, you know, we're all working together. We have a professional relationship, but outside of that, to hear that the founder of the company is, as stoked about getting up and being the first guy in the building, shaking hands with everybody, and you're not, you're not spinning a yarn. Again, as I said before, I witnessed this firsthand. I mean, Randy sat with us in our rep meeting and kind of, I mean, I don't want to blow up his spot. Maybe there was another important meeting he was supposed to be at, but he kind of blew that off to spend
Yeah,
more time with us to hear what we had to say. And I know with some of the previews that we got, sneak peeks of some of the newer products that you've got coming out. I know we're under friend DA, so we'll keep it under wraps until it hits the streets. But I mean, again, you guys are not resting on your laurels. You're not sitting on, oh, we own the patent on this. We're just going to mine it out and squeeze every penny out of it. It's like, okay, well, we did that. What's the next thing we can do? And that
right,
is, again, pretty inspiring, pretty cool. And again, you're saying it, you're like, I'm inspired to come to work every day. I'm excited to come to work. I'm excited to go get my airline miles and fly all over the country and meet with, the guys from HDSA, to go between Philly and Alabama. So you're getting like cheesesteaks one day, boiled peanuts the next
There you
day,
oh
go.
my
and
gosh.
all the exciting things that you can get. I mean, sorry, I'm a foodie, so I'm like, oh man, what would I have in those wonderful
Right?
places? So
Yeah, yeah.
it's exciting.
It's been a wild ride. I mean, and we are just getting started.
I know, that's the best part, right?
Yeah,
Like, you feel like you're on the ground floor or something that's, like,
totally.
really, really big.
And I do have to say it's been wonderful working with, you and your team so far. I think that when we first started getting into CI, I was working direct with specific custom integrators, and adding on reps across the country has been an amazing part of the process, because not only do I get to learn how to work with reps, but I think that you guys all have so much industry experience. You have great relationships, and I just did San Francisco with Robert like 2 weeks ago, and we visited an integrator for their event. And every single meeting we went to, we just had an amazing, very successful, very productive, meeting. And it's nice when people from, both sides of the aisle like come together. They can support the dealer. Robert has great knowledge. I've got some knowledge on my end, and it just makes for a really great, awesome time. So that was really fun. We had a good time.
Yeah, don't have to go in there and hard sell. You guys go in there and be collaborative and
Totally.
Yep.
work the relationship that Roberts or myself or any other reps that you guys
Right.
work with have built up, and it really becomes like oh, hey, this is my new friend that
Yeah.
helped me with these things, and that's what this is all about, that community. And I think we've kind of already uh, covered that ground today, but it is exciting to just to know that you got people that pick up the phone. I heard had a conversation today actually with a dealer, and he's like, there's a price associated with things. And, Lucetta is not the cheapest thing out there. It's positioned as a premium product, but not as premium as some other things as you might think, right? But, there's a cost to doing business where it's worthwhile to spend a little bit more to have the person pick up the phone on the other end if you have a problem. And that's, I think, really dovetails into what you guys are doing. And even though it's a totally detached conversation, that point kind of like rang through my head today. I'm like, oh yeah, you pay a little bit more, and the folks at Lucetta will pick up the phone if you have an issue. Tech support, the sales guys,
Yeah.
you, Keith, even all the way up to Randy. Like, it's nice to know that it's kind of flat in terms of your organization and how people communicate. There is no Mount Olympus where, you guys deal with this down there. It's really like, oh, if I need to be involved with this, Randy's like, I'll be the first guy on a plane to go sort something out or to go see somebody, which again is a pretty high level of stoke
Well, I think that
for a founder.
I think that mirrors a lot of, and maybe again, maybe this is why people love you. I think that mirrors a lot of guys' approaches to custom integration, right? So if you have a guy who owns a custom integration company, when he goes in and pitches himself, hey, you know what, my proposal may be a little bit more, but here's the thing: I'm going to answer the phone. I have the right staff. My staff is going to be responsive. You're paying premium because these things are worth it to you because your time is valuable. Like it
Yes.
makes perfect sense from an integrator standpoint, at least.
Right. Well, I think it's interesting. I've had some integrators too. We've had conversations, and you know, you don't necessarily like want to have the cheapest bid for whatever you're offering.
No,
Like I know that
if
in
you want
some
to keep paying your employees, you don't.
Right.
Right, but it's also like, I know that in some industries, like, the cheapest bid gets just automatically discounted because it's like, "Nope, like, you must be doing something wrong." But I would like to say, so it's interesting, integrators that work with us have, this unique advantage to access Lucetta, which is awesome, top-tier product, but most of our jobs, there's a lot of value engineering that goes into this game because a big part of what we are all doing is getting people comfortable with the fact that linear lighting is important. You need to consider it at the beginning and it needs to be part of your budget. But it's not right now for a lot of people across the country. And so as that education keeps spiraling, I think that people will start understanding that they need to allocate more to it. But, at the end of the day, okay, I didn't expect to be paying for linear lighting. I didn't know it was important. This is my budget. And so you have to be able to work within those parameters. You have
Yeah.
to be working within performance needs, all of that. And so I think that's something we also do really well. But yeah, you're going to get what you pay for. And if you have a great product and really bad customer service,
Yeah, that doesn't
then it
work.
just
Right.
It doesn't matter.
doesn't work. It doesn't matter. It's like, yeah, we could talk about
Sure.
all
Yeah.
The solution, yeah, I love that message though, like, the solution doesn't change, the price point does, right? Your solution doesn't, okay, you wanted a lighted toe kick, we've got it
right,
from 75 cents a foot up to, 3 or $6 a foot if that's what you wanna do. You want
right,
RGB, that costs more. You want just basic white so that when you go in the bathroom at 2 o'clock in the morning, you don't have to turn on a light or really wake up. That's really what we're all about here.
totally.
So you mentioned before that time is valuable, and we've run kind of up against our hour here. So there's my little
Cleanest segue
segue.
I've ever
Oh, you
seen.
like that? Yeah,
Oh,
Love
a
that.
pro, baby.
what,
That was
16,
good.
17 episodes. We're starting to get it. We're starting to get a rhythm here.
Yeah.
If you could use our platform as a megaphone to deliver, say, one message to the dealers or to the folks out there that maybe are not in linear lighting yet, or maybe a personal anecdote or whatever, what would you like to say if you could use our platform as a megaphone to say it?
Sure, I appreciate it. I would say that if you are considering getting into linear lighting, or if you've been doing it for years, and you want to work with a partner that makes it easy to do business with and has premium product, but also has a team that is just going to, always have your back and work really hard for you, then Lucetta CI is definitely the linear lighting partner that you should consider working with, and Oliver Marketing.
Oh yeah, there we go.
There you
See,
go.
we win. Woo!
Fair enough.
Love it.
So
Great.
let me just throw one more plug in for June 5th for our event, and then the 6th and 7th and 8th in Tahoe. If you're a dealer who's sort of near the area, anywhere near it, within a flight distance of it, it is absolutely worth checking our place out and coming to our event, and let Elemental show you the love, and get in here, and yeah, talk to us for some more information. I'll stick a link in the description.
Yeah, drink some Kool-Aid. It's the good Kool-Aid. It's really good.
It's
It lights up, it glows, it be different colors.
that's
It's fantastic.
absolutely. So yeah, and so for Chris and Jayson, Olivia, thank you so much for being on with us, and
Thanks for
we hope to talk to you soon. Thanks.
Totally. Yeah, take care. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.